This is one of my 2 covered beds. It looks pretty wintry. I'm trying to maybe overwinter these peppers in place. And if you look closely, it actually has green life in the bottom. I don't know if you can see that. So I'm not worried about them looking so wintry. Don't mind the kids taking care of the chickens in the back. Kind of looks like a war zone out here. See my umbrella laying down from the wind? Chickens chasing my kids. I'm gonna show you this. I have a makeshift cover for my garden bed. I only have 2 beds I'm covering this winter because I am trying to overwinter some peppers. Here's one. There's the other. I have plastic for one. I'm not as much of a fan of plastic as I am of this this type of cover that actually lets through water. The plastic I have to get off when it rains, so I have to cover it, uncover it. But these both house my peppers. And I have done all the different ways of trying to overwinter peppers. I have dug them up, brought them inside, and that actually went pretty well. I did it just for 5, but then I forgot in April to keep watering them, and user error, they died. Then I tried to overwinter peppers last year, left them uncovered during a surprise freeze in April, and I thought they all died, and then one came back. It was the Sugar Rush Peach. It was the most productive pepper in my garden. So I have nothing to lose, I figured. I leave them in place. I have lettuce in between them. I have onions all around them. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. I decided to wear makeup today. I don't know if that was a good idea. I'm not going anywhere, but sometimes it's fun to see myself in color. Let me show you under here. See, it actually is so wintry, but the peppers here look a little better than the other ones. See all that green life right there? So I am hopeful that we can make it through. I've got chard sprinkled through this bed, and then I have little tiny onions. See? I was having a real issue with squirrels getting in here and all the beds and digging up the sides and bearing acorns. And then they just uproot my onions, and they wouldn't eat them. They wouldn't do anything with them. They'd just be laying their roots up. I mean, I don't know how to tell you what a blessing all this rain is. We have been in a pretty bad 3-year drought. I mean, we always are a place, it's kind of a Mediterranean climate. We have colder, rainy winters, and then we have really hot summers, really hot and dry. We will have 6 months with nothing, and that's totally normal for us. But when we don't get rain in the winter, like last winter, we were very dry. Well, we have water restrictions. We don't have a well here. We have a water, company, district, and the restrictions are pretty drastic. So we have done what we can. We have set up rain catchment system to get the water off of the roof of our barn. And doing the best we can, gardening and growing food and raising animals in a drought. We're about to have rain for another 10 days. Most of my broccoli bed looks decent, but look here, we've got a little casualty. I don't know, it almost looks like it was pinched off or dampening off, but do things dampen off that large? Oh well. So here's my broccoli bed. I have some tatsoi I'm growing for the first year. They are so tiny. There's some kale, more kale. Broccoli is down this way. Part of the problem is we had triple-digit days till the end of October, and I kept waiting and waiting to plant out my fall garden, and then we suddenly, bam, like that, we went way too cold. So this broccoli is probably my biggest plant. The rest are very stunted. I've looked at past videos and I've noticed that they were way huge in the past at this time of year. But you know what I've learned with growing food is you can't compare against other people, and you can't even compare against yourself. Let that sink in. You can't compare against other people, and you can't compare against yourself, because every year is different. I could be frustrated, which believe me, I get frustrated, about the fact that my cabbages were nice and big. You know, in past years, my broccoli was starting to produce fruit, or I could be thankful that I get to grow my own food and I can accept the process and just wait and see. And that's what I'm doing. We have lots of rain. It's been colder here. Our November was super cold for our area and it stunted my plants, but most of them are still alive. So we'll wait and see. Okay, one of these things is not like the other. Mitsuna. I don't know how that got in with the Mitsuna, because then we have Mitsuna and Mitsuna. This is my cabbage patch this year. It was my potato bed, and I read that it was good to follow potatoes with cabbage. Is it good? I guess we will find out. I'm a little nervous because all of my raised beds have hardware cloth underneath them because we have a mole and gopher problem in this area, and I didn't put hardware cloth under this. It was, you know, kind of a spare the moment. Let's plant some potatoes. It's more like a raised bed because I didn't plant them into the ground. I actually built up the soil and then I mulched it. So we'll see how these little cabbages do. They're very slow right now as well, but I'm hopeful. I think I'm just realizing that a chicken got in here and ate some of my cabbages. Oh my goodness. They are such rascals, aren't they? Well, guess we know what we're going to be starting inside and transplanting, don't we? Here is some lettuce, and I can't tell you how thankful I am for a bed of lettuce when lettuce is $4 to $6 a head. Oh my. What'd you give him?
Hosea got him baby feed because we had extra. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, they're happy. Hey, chickens. Oh my, we've got a handful of chickens. The garlic is growing. Cauliflower is pretty small. I mean, I think this is about the same size as when I transplanted it 2 months ago. Oh my gosh, guys. Moldy strawberries that froze. Now, if that isn't real life gardening for you, I don't know what is. This guy needs to be pruned. Over here are some leeks, and we love growing leeks. These aren't quite ready to harvest. They're kind of falling over because it's been so wet and cold, but we have leeks, and we have some onions in this bed. Oh, I also have cilantro. Last year I had a cilantro forest, and this year I don't know what happened. I think I over mulched in the other bed and none came up. Maybe it will in the spring. So I just have a couple for the winter. And this bed looks like winter. Oh my goodness, you've got to see this over here. These are my little chicken farmers, and my word. This barren looking bed is the one that got pummeled by the squirrels the most, digging and burying acorns. So I did plant, you probably can't even tell unless I zoom in, I did plant onions around the perimeter, but they've been dug up so much. We will see how many onions actually end up in this bed. This is the bed, however, that was new this year. We did it horticulture, and I grew my pumpkins. I grew beans. It did wonderful. So it might be good for it to have a little bit of rest besides the onions. Here you go. Some of the onions made it. We will see how many actually make it all the way and if the squirrels finally leave us alone. My last little area to show you while I'm checking the garden is my peas. They also are pretty small. Let's get this weed out of there. I have peas over here. And I decided to put peas in with my asparagus. I don't know if that was a good idea or a bad idea. I actually need to cut these back because they actually finally are dying off. You want to plant perennials early. Blueberries, asparagus, other things that come back every year. they take a bit of time to get established. So in the meantime, I'm hoping I get a few peas in these little self-watering containers. We've only had asparagus for 1 year, so we still gotta wait a couple years to really harvest it, but I am sure looking forward to it. Asparagus is a perennial you definitely want to plant early if you're going to grow it. Well, hello there. Which one of you ate my cabbages? Which one of you ate my cabbages? Thank you guys for joining me on a kind of spontaneous garden tour. I can't wait to see this place come alive. Winter always feels so dreary to me. Even though we can grow food, it's not as colorful and vibrant, but I can't wait to see this place come alive and share it with you later. You guys, you are not going to believe this. The reason there weren't cabbage in that bed is because I didn't plant them in that bed. I was so baffled. I went and looked up my old videos and pictures to see how many cabbage I planted that the chickens had eaten, and I hadn't planted any there. They're in a completely different bed. So my gardening tip for you today is to label your plants so you don't end up like me and blaming your chickens for destroying part of your garden that they didn't destroy. There were potatoes there that we harvested and I totally forgot. So there we go. I'm still gonna get cabbage and I don't need to rush to start seeds. Have a good day.